Aquarius Sun and Aquarius Rising, welcome here to the 2026 forecast. Welcome back if you're returning, and welcome here if you're new. We'll have an overview for Aquarius Sun and Rising first, and then we'll go month by month. So you can return to the video later on in the year if it's appropriate for you. This is a forecast that is general. It's for all adults. And I want to say that here, right from the outset, please take only what is helpful to you. Astrology should be helpful. And not everything in this video will apply to every single Aquarius Sun and every single Aquarius Rising. If your Sun is Aquarius, you're going to get a general overview and theme for the year, as well as understanding the energies. If Aquarius is your Ascendant, you're going to get a more detailed sense of timing. Regardless, I'm going to try to differentiate between the two whenever I can, but practically everything is applicable to both. Because think about this, Aquarius is an air sign. Air and fire signs are compatible in astrology. And what's happening in 2026 is we've got a lot of energy around the air and fire signs. That is going to boost you if you are an Aquarius Sun. And it's going to boost you if you are an Aquarius Ascendant. Because those air and fire sign planets that are transiting in the sky are going to make harmonious relationships to either your Sun or to your Ascendant. And that's beneficial. It gives you energy to move forward. And you've felt this since late November of 2024. You had Pluto enter your sign. It was a big shift. But most of you have still yet to receive your 2-year visit from Pluto, because during 2026, Pluto will only get up to 5 degrees of Aquarius. And we know that there are 29 degrees for each sign. So Pluto moves very slowly. It's going to be in your sign until 2044. So you can relax about Pluto, and it will contact your Sun or your Ascendant at some point in its journey. But right now, it could be very, very far away. Uranus is the planet that we have our eye on because it's moving firmly into Gemini this year. Late April, around the 25th or so, it's going to enter into Gemini and form that harmonious trine with your Sun or your Ascendant. And you will have already experienced some of this energy because Uranus is in Gemini in late 2025. But then in November, it dips back into Taurus, your solar 4th house. So there are things for you to finish off when 2026 starts up, because Uranus will be in that 4th house of the home, the parent, family roots, and so on. There might have been many changes at home or at work since Uranus entered Taurus in 2018. You have to finish off that cycle when 2026 begins, tying up loose ends. And when Uranus enters finally into Gemini, late April 2026, you're going to feel that flow, feel a sense of things shifting. It's going to energize the areas of creativity, of technology, using technology in your work. Many of you are teachers. That's going to come strongly into your teaching room. Many of you are humanitarian workers, artists. This house is energized. For those of you that have children, this house becomes energized. And the technology aspect is because Uranus is always associated with technology. And it's entering into a place where it can serve you, air to air. anything that comes forth from you, a book, many of you are writers. Whatever the case, technology is coming in, change is coming in, and there's a whole lot of excitement and the relief that it's moved out of your 4th house now, and it can be put to work in another space. What else are we going to see in 2026? We're going to see Saturn finally move out of Pisces into Aries in February of 2026. So once again, you've had a taste of that in 2025. And before that, with Saturn in Pisces, you were working on the financial realm, dealing with restrictions, budgeting, trying to save, trying to get ahead, having to possibly be careful with money, and really aiming to restructure your financial situation since 2023. In 2025, you started to see the end of the tunnel, things began to stabilize, and then as the year ended, you had to deal with some financial issues again. And now in 2026, Saturn leaves that place in February, and it will be in Aries for 2 years until April of 2028. So Aquarius, this is a harmonious place for you. Fire to air, Aries to Aquarius. Saturn can work well for you here. It's going to be in your house of communication, and it's going to be joining up with Neptune there, the planet of ideals, visions, spirituality, long journeys, dreams, and the ideals that we can now make tangible to some degree because Saturn is there to help structure that. So if there is a book that you're trying to write or a project that you're trying to push forward that is based in some way on communication, this is now a good time for that. Challenges with this combination might mean that your regular commute to and from work receives some kind of upheaval or shift. But all in all, it might work out for the better. Something may fall away, something may come in. Maybe you've been on the train for many years and suddenly something frees up and you're able to start driving. Please apply whatever I'm saying to your own life, because you will only know exactly how it's applicable. Whatever the case, there's something going on either in communication or in the way you get around that's going to receive energy. The way Saturn works is we need to put the work in for 2 years to benefit from that area. What else I could be seeing is learning. Are you studying something? You need to put the work in for another 2 years before you can become proficient. There's a lot of emphasis on that, and you will be helped. And it looks like this studying has to do with possibly something altruistic, not for profit, or spiritual, because we've got Neptune and Saturn. And they're going to come together in that 3rd solar house for you that has to do with communication, with learning, with getting around the neighborhood, also with siblings. Do you have brothers and sisters that may come into the spotlight all the way from late April of 26 until February, March, April of 2028? Regardless of how you view this, it's one of the most important aspects of the year when Saturn and Neptune join up in the sign of Aries, and it's working in tandem with you. So there's something that is going to come out of this for you, and you seem to be benefiting because so many of the planets are shifting into the air or the fire signs. The final one will be Jupiter. Jupiter is moving from Cancer, where it will be for the first 6 months of 2026. You're used to this energy by now. It's been here since June of 2025, giving you an opportunity to restructure your daily routine, which was very pressured in the previous year. And when it moves into Leo, a fire sign, on July 1st, it's going to bring some benefits to the partnerships in your life. So if you're single, this could bring a relationship in. If you are living with someone, this could see you getting married, making the relationship permanent. And if you are married, this Jupiter transiting through this place, because Leo is your sister sign, we have Leo and Aquarius, we could see benefits to your partner, something good coming into the relationship, re-energizing it, or blessings and abundance for the spouse. Potential challenges for 2026 are the solar eclipse in your sign. That will be February the 17th, give or take a day on either side. And please always take a day on either side or adjust for your own time zone. And bear in mind that usually before a new or a full moon, the energy will be more intense before the event. So this solar eclipse of February the 17th could bring a buildup of pressure, especially before. If it's touching your sun or your ascendant, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It can bring something to the light that can also bring you into the light. However, we are cautioned not to make major life decisions before the eclipse. And there will be a second eclipse in early March, not in your sign. It's going to be in a sign that doesn't really impact you strongly. However, wait until both those eclipses are through before you make any decisions. The other eclipse of the year will be in August in Leo. That will impact you. There are a total of 4 as usual in 2026, but the 2 that are important for you are the February and the one in August that is in Leo. That can bring up events surrounding the partner or partnership, and so often events in Leo reflect right back at you, Aquarius. So it's always good to note whenever there's a new or a full moon in Leo, because it seems to accentuate your own self-development as well as that of Leo Sun and Leo Rising. Finally, for 2026, we are going to have a Venus retrograde this year. Last year was our Mars retrograde. If you recall, we spoke about it in depth in the video. This year is going to be Venus's turn, and she will retrograde back through the signs of Scorpio and Libra in October and November. So if you are watching this video early on in the year, it's great to make a note of that. Approximately October 3rd to around November 14th. It will be affecting something in the work for you. Travel, connecting with others, having to redo something at work, go back, revisit old places. These are the kind of themes that could come up for you, and it's a very good time to plan for that kind of thing. Not a great time to initiate new projects, something brand new. Rather clear up old relationships, could come back for healing so that you can heal old wounds and part as friends. or simply old creative projects might come back and be re-energized. Possibly money could come in from artwork or from stories that you wrote or from lesson plans that you created or plans for a house, architectural plans. Whatever the case, applied. Many of you are also scientists. Scientific research that you did many, many years ago might come up now into the spotlight in October or November for review, revision, seeing how can I apply this now? I'm suddenly interested in it again. Those are good things to tackle during this time. It's going to combine with a Mercury retrograde, so there will be time to really kick back on the emotional, engaging front and use that focused energy of Scorpio to work on some of your projects, as well as the aesthetic energy of Libra. So let's dive in month by month, Aquarius. January begins with you in a relatively quiet place, Aquarius, and of course, please adapt for your own lifestyle. However, it's quite reassuring to know that every year, not simply 2026, January begins with your sun in a quiet place, because it's not receiving energy from the transiting sun that is in Capricorn. If you have an Aquarius ascendant, the sun will be in your 12th house in a quiet place. So if you don't feel like rushing about, taking journeys here, there, and everywhere to celebrate, that's okay. Respect that. The astrology is suggesting that it would be a wonderful time of year, every year, if you are able, to kick back, relax, and recuperate, restore, energize yourself, preparing for what's to come. And there's always a full moon in Cancer, and there's always a new moon in Capricorn. And 2026 is no exception to that. But those lunations are taking place in that quiet place of your chart. The full moon in Cancer, which is on January the 3rd, brings wonderful energy for nurturing, possibly having a meal with loved ones, those you love, over the holidays. And yet there is a quietness that you are feeling inside. And that's fine. You're old enough now to put your feet up and relax when you need to. The new moon in Capricorn is taking place in an area that has to do with those routines, those tasks that we need to fulfill on a daily basis, just in order to keep going, taking care of our health, walking to work, whatever we do to keep us on track. So some of you might even be working during the new year, but if you are, take it easy, take it slow. The vitality is going to come in very strongly after the sun moves into your sign, and that's on January 19, give or take a day on either side. So when that sun comes in, vitality is restored, and that's the time we can say, happy birthday, Aquarius. Or if the sun is coming into your ascendant, this is a wonderful energy for Aquarius rising. This is when the year really begins for you. And you're going to feel that because a day or two after the sun has moved into Aquarius, Mars, the action planet, is going to follow it. So there's energy to do things now. There's energy to move forward, and it's all systems go. And the final thing we want to note for January is that move of Neptune into Aries. Major planetary event for the entire world. We've had Neptune in Aries in 2025. But as the new year gets underway, it's back in Pisces, and you'll feel that shift in the last week in January when it moves to 0 degrees of Aries and we start a new era on this planet. This wonderful archetype of the mystic warrior that we can hopefully all bring into our lives a little more, being clearer, being firmer, being stronger, and being more resilient in our spiritual practice and our spiritual way of being. February could show a lot of action for you. The month begins with a full moon in Leo, in that sign of relating and relationships. But all the planets are with you. Sun in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius, and of course Pluto in Aquarius. So you're well supported. There's a lot of action. You're in a group, you're with friends, you're with colleagues, you're doing something, you're extremely busy. And take a moment on that full moon to just make an energy check, because there might be so much going on in your life that you could feel a little overwhelmed. What's also important is that around the 15th, Saturn is moving into Aries. That's important because it's going to join up with Neptune. So the world is really being put on standby now by something that's going to come in. And there's also going to be that solar eclipse, which we're building to on the 17th in your sign. So while there's so much action in your life, note that you don't have to feel pressured into acting, or you should not be pressured into signing anything precipitously or making a major decision. The highest outcome of this eclipse for you could be coming into the light and being recognized for something that you've done, or possibly an identity change. If you have an Aquarius ascendant, this is when you might get married, change your name, change the way you look at the world. Something to do with identity, and for the sun, there's that potential element for recognition. Regardless, just to touch back on Saturn, Saturn has now left your house of finances, and hopefully that's good. You're leaving that house in good shape. All the work you've put in since 2023 has stabilized it, and now you're starting a 2-year cycle, which is going to enable you to bring money in using new methods of communication, new methods of whatever it is you do, software development or whatever it is. There's a new energy, and you've worked through that financial restrictive pattern. Once the energy of the solar eclipse has unwound itself the next few days or so, and it is quite an intense energy because Uranus is in the mix. Uranus often brings changes, unexpected events. Then we have Saturn and Neptune coming together. That is the world event of the year, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that happens once every 36 years. So for you, it's in your solar 3rd house, and you will be reaping rewards from that for a long time to come. This might be a good time to get the message out for your business or your creative career, whatever you are involved in. However, because it's eclipse season, I would be a little cautious of using that energy for promotion. It might be better to make plans at this time, a good time to meditate on what do I want to achieve in my structural business. How can it align with my ideals for the year? Because Saturn deals with structure, Neptune deals with the nebulous, and there is now a possibility to bring these together. Also note that things can dissolve. Neptune can alternatively dissolve the structures that Saturn has set up. So there may be some adjustments in your life. And all you need to contemplate on that is that nothing happens without reason. If something is falling away, it's because something new is ready to take its place and you are ready for this next phase. So have calm confidence that everything is working as it should and there is a greater plan. Astrology teaches us this because these cycles are greater than ourselves and we need to bow down to them. And ultimately, we begin to understand a pattern. Everything happens for a reason and it seems to work for the greater good. The first Mercury retrograde of the season will begin on the 26th of February. Just a reminder, what does this mean? We don't have to hype up about it. Mercury, our planet of communication and travel, is going to be a little less active, a little less strong. So during this period from February 26th until March 20th, we need to take extra time for getting around, not to rush about and try to get somewhere at the last minute. We need to double check all our communication before we send that email. Make sure we want to send it and make sure that it's what we really want to say. Pausing works well, and allowing space in your day to process, to deal with things that come back onto your plate. For you, Aquarius, this retrograde, which is in Pisces, is happening in your house of resources. So money might be coming back to you. There might be some good events here, but you also might need to take care of some outstanding payments or details that you thought you'd already left behind. They might come back onto your desk. That's fine. Just deal with them. The retrograde will be over by March 20th and you can move forward with that. A background aspect for the world which is now forming is that Neptune in Aries will begin to form a harmonious relationship to Pluto in Aquarius. And this is going to ease some of the tensions that are going on in the world. There's a sense that these two planets can now work together, and we will feel this, maybe not directly, but that background hum of stress that we have been experiencing for many, many years now may start to ease up around this time. March brings a full moon, which is also a lunar eclipse on the 3rd of the month. So this is the sister eclipse to your eclipse, which happened in February. And this is a time to shine a light not only on finances, which you are organizing once again because of the Mercury retrograde. You also have the Sun and Mars in that house of resources, in that house of finances, helping you. The eclipse is going to shine a light on where you might be overspending, but it can also really help you to get organized. The moon will be in Virgo. It is very good for detail-orientated work and for helping you to put in place structures that are going to serve you well. So possibly you need to, for example, put your credit cards on auto pay, because this is a way that's going to help you. Whatever works for you, apply it to your own life at whatever level your financial situation is in manifestation. This is the time of year where this can help. Saturn's moved out of this area. So you want to bring abundance in now. You want to be thinking along the lines of abundance. How do I create wealth? Maybe it's time to start to think about retirement, to put things in place. And this is really the month that it happens, because the new moon of the month is going to be in the sign of Pisces, and that is your finance house. So that's really new beginnings, setting those intentions and structures in place, because 2 days after the new moon, Mercury moves direct. So don't be precipitous in initiating something new, but the structure should really be in place by then, so that around the 23rd, the 24th of the month, all things can move forward, and you can move forward with confidence, setting that intention of able to create wealth, able to be abundant, able to be prosperous. And then again, a background event, but I'm mentioning it because I know you Aquarius are very interested in the wider picture. We will get the formation of another harmonious aspect between Saturn in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. And that's also going to really create a little bit more of a positive vibration on the planet compared to what we've been going through when Pluto was in Aquarius and Saturn was in Pisces. So as that aspect forms, it's called a sextile, a 60-degree aspect. It sets the tone for greater ease, for things to start to flow better. And as I'm speaking now, I can sense that the world has been through so much since 2019, since 2020, when all these planetary shifts began. Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct in Aquarius, 0 degrees of Aquarius in 2019, and this started to sensitize that degree that Pluto then came into, and all of the world began to shift, began to change, as we're moving from an earth-based economy to an air-based economy. And we're seeing this so fully now, Aquarius, aren't we? 5 years down the line, with cryptocurrency and AI and everything we couldn't imagine, it's rolling now exponentially. And I'm hoping that these two harmonious aspects, Neptune to Pluto and Saturn to Pluto, are going to start to see an easing up of some of these vibrations. April looks like a time of hard work, especially if you are doing something physical. You're going to have a lot of energy to push that through. Could also see you working on some kind of a creative project or something that has to do with music. There is a lot of powerful discipline to move forward, whatever you're working on. Could be studying, learning. The sky is really the limit. Movement just really comes to mind because I'm seeing both Mars and Saturn in that house of moving, getting around. So you could apply this to any field that you're working in, but you will have energy, possibly to go on a short trip. But if you do, be patient if you run into delays, or even with the work that you're doing, ordinary day-to-day work, whatever you do for a living, there could be some back and forth, because Mars is coming up to join with Saturn, and Mars wants to move forward and Saturn wants to restrict and stop. If you can work with these energies, this can be a time of real focus and concentration. It's in the sign of Aries, so physical activity and energy of a disciplined sort is favored. Not the time to just go crazily running around, because Saturn wants the structure. It wants you to be disciplined. If you manage this, congratulations, you won't be sorry, because you really are going to see the results of hard work. And the full moon in Libra on the 1st of the month and the new moon in Aries on the 17th of the month are both supporting you in this endeavor. It's as if I see you expanding, doing more, going further than you used to, and yet you're being held in place. You've got a plan, you know where you're going. So there's nothing chaotic about April. If you have a lot to do and you are able to plan your year in advance, this would be a very good time to put a lot on the calendar. And the most important astrological event for April will be that move of outer planet Uranus into the sign of tropical Gemini. So that's important for everyone, and for you it's moving into a good place. We touched on it in the introduction. Energizing creativity, energizing children. If you're a teacher, very, very good for this area of your life. And regardless, take a day of adjustment on the 25th. Because it's a trine to your sun or ascendant, you receive the energy easily. So it's a good idea to break the routine, do something out of the box, go out for dinner, anything that's unusual for you, and note what is taking place this week. Because Uranus will be in the sign for 7 years until 2033, and it's really going to enhance technology. We think that we're using it a lot now, but I'm seeing a complete overhaul happening in education over the next 7 years. So if you work in this field, keep your eyes open and know that you can contribute. If you're a scientist, if you're an artist, there is so much work that it needs to be done in this new field. The month of May brings good energy into the home. Perhaps you're working from home or you're able to spend a little bit of time there, but the sun is shining its light in this area. So I'm seeing good things, and our action planet Mars will also enter into there a little bit later in the month. So there's energy to do things, energy to renovate, update some of the furniture, whatever it is you like to do in your home. This is a good month to do it. All the hard work you were putting in April is also going to pay off. On the 1st of the month, there's a full moon in your house of work. So that can bring something to fruition, and a project could be completed then. You could feel rewarded and feel satisfied. After that full moon, the energy is going to go quietly towards a time of a little bit of adjustment. We've got Pluto stationing retrograde. That's around the 5th of the month, and that's of course in the house of your sun or your ascendant. So take a day on either side, put your feet up, go to bed extra early, and if you feel heavy in the body, that's okay. These planetary stations do have an effect on us. The planet Venus, which rules love and money and relationships and relating, will also be out of bounds from May the 4th until around June the 7th. And that just means Venus will be extra strong at this time. So be careful of obsessing around relationships, and be cautious of overdoing it on the relationship front. The positive side of Venus out of bounds can be huge creativity. So channel that energy wisely and mindfully into your creative projects. Some of you don't have a lot of creativity in your life. This might be a good time to access it. Bring in a hobby, bring in a craft. Can really help to focus your mind. You tend to be a very mental sign. Air signs are thinking all the time. It's their dominant center. So bringing in something that you do with your hands can be really helpful in regulating the flow of your energy. Then we're building towards the new moon which will be in the sign of Taurus. So that's your house of the home, and it's energizing it. Something new can begin there. Maybe there are people coming in or people going out, or maybe you're signing a new lease or a new mortgage, and you've actually moved home when Uranus went through Taurus, and now you are ready to settle into this beautiful new home. Lots of blessings there if you are in a new place. And the month of May will end with a second full moon, which is on the 31st of the month. And that's in your house of friendship and goals. So possibly one of those is coming to fruition, or you've managed to do something very well at work and now you're receiving a reward for that. It's a very good time at this Sagittarius full moon to go out either with friends or with loved ones and to celebrate. Find some joy in life. If you're living alone and you're not easily able to connect with others, possibly you're in a foreign country, maybe you're studying, maybe you haven't made close friends yet, this is a time to in some way put yourself out there. It's going to be a good time to connect with new potential friends. And you make friends easily in a general way. So I'm hoping you will be out there. Also a good time to pursue sports, activities, and so on. June begins with action planet Mars still in the area of the home. So whatever projects you started there in May, this can continue until June 28th. We could also be referring to a parent if we're not referring to the home, the roots, something there. Maybe you're going back to explore your family genealogy. Whatever the case, there's a lot of activity around endings, beginnings, things finishing up in the home during June. We've also got a highlight on children for those of you who have children, and a highlight on sports or those projects that are coming through you. Why is this? It's because Mars is going to finally leave the house of the home and enter into this area and hook up with Uranus. So unexpected happenings here, something new, something fresh. Just be mindful when you are on the sporting field or out there traveling around, because this builds this energy and it builds as the month continues. And then at the end of the month, around the 29th, we're going to have a full moon in Capricorn. And for you, that's in a quiet place, first of all. And secondly, Mercury is preparing for its second retrograde movement. So that's going to happen around the time of that full moon. And it's going to be in the sign of Cancer. So that's a good time to take a health check or to slow down and simply give yourself space to breathe again. Been working very hard since March 20th, and now it's your second opportunity to take a pause. If you can take a day off work around the 29th, the 30th of the month, wonderful. Take a moment to reassess. And when Mercury is retrograde, we have to give up this notion that everything is going to move forward from A to B to C. It's probably going to first move backwards before it moves forward. And once again, this is lawful. It's happening for a reason. And when we work in tandem with it, we don't get stressed out when things are delayed or things are late, or there's a whole lot of confusion surrounding communication. The final small thing to note for June is that from around the 14th, Venus will enter into Leo. And that's a wonderful blessing for partnerships. So if you're looking for that relationship, this is again a very good time to step out and try to meet people, go on a date. And if you're in relationship, enjoy it, cherish one another, and your spouse or your permanent partner may have small blessings come to them at this time. And you can be part of that, and you can even be the bringer of that. July sees the action planet spending all of the month in the sign that has to do for you with creativity, with children, with things that come through you but not from you. So enjoy that vibe. There's a long time to go deeply into something. It's a positive place for you. The only thing is that you might be feeling physically stressed, and you will have a health check, an opportunity to get back on track with your health around the new moon of the 14th. That's in Cancer, and that's your health reset new moon. So while many of you are healthy, some of you still hold on to unusual ideas about what it means to be healthy, and it's hard for you sometimes to get into a routine. So this might be your opportunity to recommit. And remember, planets are not doing things to us per se. I'm mentioning the potential energies throughout this entire forecast, but you have to go out there and do it. Just because you have good energy in a certain place in your chart doesn't mean it's going to happen. You can't meet someone if you're at home. You can't get fit if you're sitting on the couch. So you need to go out there and activate. We have this wonderful body that is God-given, and part of our spiritual development depends on us being physically healthy. So if you are dealing with very great ailments, my blessings to you. If you're dealing with ill health, nobody should have to suffer that, but it seems that sometimes it comes around. This is going to be a new moon where you can really try for a reset. Eating well is essential for Aquarius. You need to eat foods and do the kind of activities that boost the heart, boost the circulation, and keep the chi and the lymph flowing in your body. Otherwise, there can be a tendency towards stagnation, which has its own side effects as well. We have a third background positive energy coming in from around July 7th to the 31st. This is when Uranus will trine Pluto, so air to air, Gemini to Aquarius. And again, this is not an individual aspect, but it's something that we are all going to feel as beneficial, a new background hum that is easing up the stresses of the past few years. And I appreciate it when I read your comments, and so many of you are out there trying to live positive lives to the best of your ability. This is what it takes. Before that new moon in Cancer that we spoke of, we of course need to mention the major event of July, which is July 1st. Jupiter is going to move into Leo, and we spoke about that a lot in the introduction. So coming into your house of partnerships, bringing opportunities to meet a permanent partner, and also to energize your current relationship if you're in one. So may that bring joy to you and make that fruitful. Once again, Jupiter will be in Leo from July 1st, 2026, all the way until July of 2027. So a full 12-month period. And it could also bode well for those of you that are in the acting industry or in the sporting industry, when you have to be in competition or putting yourself out there. There's going to be a lot of rewards for people who can access this Jupiter in Leo energy. Leo likes to be the king, and Jupiter in Leo is a fiery energy. Jupiter is very comfortable there. So we could see a lot of manifestation for you, Aquarius, with this bountiful planet traveling through a very public place in your chart. There are a lot of energy adjustments as July progresses. One of these will be the retrograde movement of Saturn, which is your ruling planet, and that's on around the 26th. So take a day of adjustment during this time. It follows on the heels of a Mercury forward station. Remember, Mercury was retrograde. It's going to move forward around the 23rd. So that's going to be positive energy. But when we get Mercury moving forward and Saturn moving retrograde, there can really be the need for an energy adjustment. So if you feel like you need more rest that week, please take it. And the month is going to end with your full moon. That's on the 29th in the sign of Aquarius, bringing that fullness, bringing that fruition to something that you may have been working on all the way since your birthday. And I wish that for you, Aquarius. We can also note that the North Node will move into Aquarius around this time, and it's going to be there for about 2 years. So if you're an Aquarius sun, you're going to get a visit from the nodal axis to your sun, very important. And if you are Aquarius rising, that transiting node is going to come into your ascendant. Very important times to connect deeply with your tribe, with your group, with others that you may have been connected with before. You don't remember it, but when you meet them, it feels familiar. So be open to that and to the connectivity that this node can bring you over the next 2 years. August generally brings good energy around partnership, yet it's also eclipse season again. So we're building up towards that eclipse. It's a solar eclipse in Leo around August the 12th. And that is a time where we need to be extra mindful, because just before the eclipse, the planet Mars, our action planet, is going to move into a prominent place of the zodiac. So for all of us, a day of energy adjustment, and together with that build up from the eclipse, we want to make sure we're at home, we're laying low, we're not rushing about. If you are a follower of astrology, you would never watch an eclipse, because traditional astrologers are suggesting that eclipses represent the fall of kings when they pass over your country, and they are important times to be quiet, to stay home, and to avoid that particular event. Looking at it, there's a reason that we can't look at the eclipse with the naked eye. And of course, in our modern world, we tend to forget all of these things. So a lot of energy in August around the partnership. If you're single, try to relate it to something in your life. Sometimes that energy in Leo could be coming straight back to you. So if there's something that you're agitated about at this time, that you feel must have resolution soon, now is the time to rather quieten down and not make a decision. Put it off for a while longer until the second eclipse, which is going to be at the end of the month. And that eclipse, of course, it's a lunar eclipse now, the twin sister of that solar eclipse. That's going to take place at the full moon in Pisces. So possible financial house activation there. It's also the place of self-worth. And I hope that something good can be revealed after that eclipse for you. The other background energy during August is we'll have a beautiful trine in fire signs between Jupiter and Saturn. Remember, Jupiter's now in Leo, Saturn's in Aries, and that can also create a good background energy for us. So in spite of the eclipses, we have a sense of purpose, we feel we're moving towards something, and we're not going to let small setbacks put us down. Several things suggest that September is really back to work for you or hard work for you. You've got the new and full moons in places which have to do with work. And I'm also seeing Mars in that area that demands rigor, demands routine, demands energy on a day-to-day basis. So maybe it's time to put the head down and just take care of things step by step. This is a time when the new moon is going to be in Virgo. So it's another opportunity for detailed work, organizing, clearing out, making those lists. If your office hasn't been cleaned out all year, now is the time. And for all of us, remember that now that we're in this age where everything is being digitalized, we need to clear out. We need to clear out our emails that are ancient and clogging up space. We need to clear out our photographs, all those thousands of digital photographs you might have in storage. Possibly you could get rid of at least half of them and free up space. And it's not only literal space that you're freeing up, it's the psychic space that allows new things to come into your life. When you let go, let go, let go of all the stuff that is in your life, in your inbox, or simply on your computer or in your office. So use that Virgo new moon for a reset. After that new moon on the 10th, there's a very powerful full moon on the 26th of the month, give or take a day on either side. That's in Aries, so strong communication. Saturn is there, Neptune is there with that full moon. And potential fullness of projects that you began around 6 months ago. We could be seeing a lot of activation there. What else we're seeing as the month draws to a close is a powerful structure forming in fixed signs, and you are a fixed sign, Aquarius. So Mercury slips into 0 degrees of Scorpio. We have Jupiter in Leo, and Mars is going to slip into Leo 0 degrees. And of course we have Pluto in the early degrees of Aquarius. So you will be feeling that. That'll be around the 30th of September. Strong energies, maybe tensions at work. There may be adjustments that are needed. And this could be the time to take a break, take a day off, take a day at home. If there are tensions in the office or tensions on your job, whatever you do, might be a good time to release that energy somehow by just stepping back from it. And you'll re-engage again when October gets underway. October sees the sun in a good place for you. It's shining light on potential for journeys, travel to a new foreign place, getting your wonderful education constantly improved. All these things, even armchair travel is favored during this time. And of course, we've got a lot of energy in your house of partnerships with Mars there. You might be feeling extra competitive at this time. The one challenge which we mentioned before is the Venus retrograde that will begin in Scorpio in your house of work. And Venus will travel back into Libra, and she will turn direct on November 14. Now, near the end of October, Mercury is also going to station retrograde in your house of work. So this suggests that there will be some slowdowns at work or something that you need to review. We spoke a lot about that in the introduction, so simply take note of it and adjust accordingly. The new moon is in the sign of Libra on the 10th of October, and that's again a beautiful reset for expansion, travel, learning. And the full moon in October will be around the 24th. That's the full moon that is related to the home for you, the place of the home, also to parents. And Pluto is strongly in the mix with this full moon, so try to avoid power struggles or power plays with anyone. and instead use that moon for creating a wonderful meal. Taurus full moon is a good time to feast, to ground, to plant your herbs on your windowsill, anything that nourishes the earth and the earth element within you. We also have Pluto moving direct in mid-October, so if you do need a day of adjustment around about the 15th, it's a good day to break the routine and to do some reflection. November begins with things accelerating towards the end of the year, and we've got a new moon on the 9th. It's in Scorpio and in your solar house of work. So this might be an intense new moon. Especially be mindful the day before this new moon, 7th, 8th of the month. You could be feeling a little listless, lack of energy, wondering what it's all about. And there's a combination of things happening here. Dark moon with Mercury and Venus both being retrograde. So the wonderful thing about astrology is it shows us that things like this never last forever. And we don't need to worry because the mood or the moon will always change. And once that new moon comes into play, we're going to start to feel so much better. And even more so after Mercury stations direct and Venus stations direct on the 13th or the 14th of November. And then the light begins to build, things start to pick up speed again. We've reflected and learned so much from that Venus retrograde, and now we're ready to address things in a whole new way. And remember that both those planets will be traveling through your house of expansion, travel, and through your house of career, work, or public standing, once again through the rest of November and December. So there's something that's going to come up for you again, recurring themes. September, October, November, December are all connected through the movements of Mercury and Venus. And we can pay attention to that and start to get a flavor in our lives for what is happening when those planets move through certain signs, because a pattern is developing as we go through our lives. We're moving towards the sun dipping into Sagittarius, your house of friendship, goals, hopes, dreams, groups. That's around the 23rd of the month, and it brings a really positive energy into you, Aquarius. Fire to air, compatibility and harmony. And straight after the sun is moving into Sagittarius, we're going to get a full moon in Gemini. This is shining very good light on love, love given, love received. Something joyful comes in here. Also the potential for that book you were writing, that project you were working on, those negotiations you were overseeing. Something is going to gel now, come to the fullness and all good, because we're seeing something activated there that was started when Uranus moved into Gemini earlier on, followed by Mars, and now the full moon there. So apply this to your own life, whether it's a project, creative, exercise, children, you will know what we're referring to. It could even be a lover that we're talking about. Something happens and maybe that lover is about to become a permanent partner. Mars has now moved into a quiet place for you, and as December, the final month of the year, gets underway, you're starting to feel that you need time to kick back, not be so social, to take a little bit of space. And I'm going to encourage you to do that because the astrology is in your favor. So Mars is in that quiet place, Virgo, and we'll talk more about that next year, because when 2027 gets underway, there's going to be a Mars retrograde in that place for you. So several adjustments there. But for now, we're in December 2026, and there's a new moon in your house of friendships around about the 8th of December. So that's a lovely time to begin something new. Could be with a group, could be with something to do with your work. You've made some adjustments, you're being recognized. And it's a combination though, because you're going through the motions a little bit in terms of work. Some of you may have put your resignation in and you're planning a whole new era for 2027, because the first 4 months of the year look to be very quiet, like you're finding your way. So maybe you're looking for a new job and you're allowing yourself some time to just lay low and be free. Your ruling planet Saturn together with Neptune are going to move forward between the 10th and the 13th of December. So that could feel good eventually for this restructuring of ambition. You know, I really see that you are reconsidering a lot of options now. And then, of course, we have a Jupiter retrograde, because the way our cosmos works is that nothing is ever all systems go. There's always some internal energy and some external energy. So Jupiter will retrograde in Leo around the 15th, and that's going to cause a kickback effect, wanting to spend time with a partner that's relaxing. Both of you could take some time off work if that's an option. And there's a sense of you're coming to that time where you want to rest. When the sun moves into Capricorn around the 21st and 22nd, 23rd, and we have a full moon in Cancer, you're going to feel that it's your time now. You deserve it. You've worked hard and you'd like to rest. And I wish a wonderful rest for you. I wish a wonderful holiday for you, and a very healthy and happy 2026. If you enjoyed something in this forecast, found it helpful, post me a comment, and I will see you next time.